Hi, I'm Ray, G4NSJ. This is in the way, I know. I've had to move the camera a bit, but this is the clock. The thing is, just briefly before I start, the floor in here is uneven. This is my shack, if you like, my radio room. I've got an old rug here, I've got bits of carpet everywhere, and the clock, if it's off at all, if it's off centre sort of thing, the pendulum isn't right, the contacts don't make properly, so I've put it there and adjusted everything for it to work there just while I'm playing around with it. You probably hear it ticking. So of course then I thought, well, hang on, it's in the way of the camera. Anyway, it is a master clock made by Gent, it says in there, Gent of Leicester. Gent of Leicester. I've got it hooked up to a battery and some resistors at the moment. It wants 4 volts. I've got the circuit diagram, which I'll show you in a minute on the video. Basically, if you don't know what a master clock is, you probably do. That's why you're watching this video. If you don't, do you remember in the old days on railway stations, back when I was a boy, in the old days, on the railway stations you had big clocks and the minute hand would go kalonk. It would go on by sort of half-minute steps. Normally I think they were half-minute steps, so kalonk, 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 like that. I used to watch those and they all did it in time, all synchronised. And I knew somewhere on the station, in an office somewhere, there was a master clock. That's what this is. Basically it's a very, very simple device. A swinging pendulum, okay, electromagnet, which every now and then keeps the pendulum swinging, with contacts there. That's very basic. 4 volts though, that's an odd voltage, isn't it, for what they call the drive magnet for the pendulum. 4 volts. Anyway, I'm going to sort out a power supply for that. Then you've got a couple of wheels. I'll show you on the video in a minute. I've taken videos of it working. There's a few capacitors in there and resistors there for spark quenching on contacts. You don't want them burning out with sparking. And you've got a 1 second pulse. They call it a pulse. So every 1 second contacts close, okay, and open. A 6 second pulse, so every 6 seconds the contacts close and open. Then a 30 second one, which I think is the one I'm talking about that I mentioned earlier, works the minute hand on the clock. The 6 second pulse, I believe, is some different type of clock. I forget what it's, I've read about it, I forget what it said. By the way, I know nothing about these. You're saying, oh, I've already gathered that. No, seriously, I've wanted one of these since I saw one at school back in the 50s. I wanted one, and I've got one now. They've got these at Amberley Museum near Arundel in West Sussex. Every time we go there, I look at them. They're hypnotic. My wife, Trish, she said, what do you want that for? I said, I could sit here and listen to it and watch it. It's hypnotic. There's no clock face on this one. A lot of them do have a clock face. This hasn't. So what I'm going to do, you hear it clonking, I'm going to, on eBay, I found a few slave clocks, as they're called. And I've also seen on eBay a slave clock movement, which is a brass assembly with a solenoid. So you get the 30 second pulse from here. The solenoid goes donk donk, moves the wheel round a little bit, which is connected to the minute hand and all that business, you know. So I'm going to get or make a slave clock at some stage. I'll show you some of the innards now, some of the workings of it. There's a little, what they call a hip toggle, H-I-P-P. Nothing to do with the hip. Apparently it's named after Mr. Hip. And he invented this little swinging toggle thing to energize the solenoid, the electromagnet, which pulls the pendulum over. Now it doesn't do it every time. You'll see how it works. Every now and then the little toggle thing pushes up and closes the contacts, energizes the magnet, which pulls the pendulum across to keep it swinging. Have a look at that little clip first. That's quite a fiddle to adjust that little toggle business. the thing on the pendulum bar, that you can adjust up and down. So there's the toggle, you can adjust this up and down. Also that way, it's quite a fiddle. And of course, if you move the clock on uneven ground, as I've done, then the whole thing's gone out. This should be bolted to the wall. It should be fixed to the wall, then set it up. There's no good my setting it up there, then moving it over there. By the way, did I tell you it's a Gents Master Clock, GPO, number 36. If you look up number 36 clock, you'll see there's loads of stuff about it all over the internet. Let's have a look now at all the mechanism at the top, which is quite interesting. Someone's cut those green wires up there. That's not right. You see the two sets of contacts? They should be in parallel because that's the 1 second pulse. Now someone's cut all the green wires. I don't know why people do this sort of thing. On the left here, that wheel on the left, that's just made contact there, the one on the left. Okay, and now we're going to count. There we are, 6 seconds. The one on the right, that makes contact every 30 seconds. All this is quite delicate to set up. It's fairly basic, but it does need a bit of setting up. There's what they call the drive magnet, which is switched there. You get the pulse from there. They call it a pulse. It's really just a sort of millisecond of electricity, which is sent to the solenoid there. Acts as an electromagnet, which pulls the pendulum across. And that just keeps going, of course. And down the bottom, that's to advance and retard the slave clocks. And then way down the bottom, there's the pendulum. So it's quite a nice piece of equipment. I'm very pleased with that. What I shall probably do, I'm going to build a power supply, 4-volt power supply, for the drive magnet, as they call it. I'll probably put a little box on top. I've seen people do that before, various videos I've seen. Put the box on top with a 4-volt power supply, and then a power supply for whatever slave clock I get. I've read somewhere some of them are 40 or 50 volts, some are 24 or whatever. So I can build a power supply for that. The thing is, in the little contacts in here, I mean, they're old now, you know, they've been running for decades. The best thing to do, I think, is to make, for example, the 30-second contacts in there, make those operate a little relay in my power supply box. So minimal current on the original contacts here, minimal current just to work a small relay. Then that relay's contacts can work the pulse to the slave clock, if you see what I mean. You may have noticed up in that corner there's some capacitors. They look like paper capacitors with some small wire wound resistors. They're for spark quenching. They're across all the contacts for quenching the spark. The reason there are 2 lots of 1 second contacts, like there are 2 lots here, when the pendulum goes there, they close. When it comes back here, they close. The reason there are 2 lots, and they're in parallel, or they should be, they are now, I've wired them up properly, someone cut the wires. The reason they're in parallel is because the pendulum is 1 second, okay, to go there and there is 2 seconds. So if you just have one, right, it's going to be 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. So each set on its own is 2 seconds. Put a pair each side in parallel, they make, and it's 1 second. Does that make sense? Probably not. Here's the circuit diagram. So you can see all the connections on top there. Pendulum drive, that's the 4-volt one. Then there's the battery, negative and positive. That's to send out the pulses, whatever it might be. I don't know, 24 volts, whatever. So I'm going to make separate power supplies for these. Then you've got the 1 second, 6 second, and where it says equipment, exchange equipment and clocks, 30 seconds. And basically just shows all the bits and pieces. There are the capacitors in series with the resistors to quench sparks. It's quite, as I said, it's a very basic sort of setup really. The only difficulty is in setting it up. All the contacts and the adjustments have all got to be just right, of course. I believe these were first used in 1925, something like that, because time, it was railway time, wasn't it? Initially, there was what they called railway time, because the time here in my town, for example, it might be 8 o'clock in the morning, down the West Country, down Penzance or wherever, there was no standard. You know, we didn't have like BBC Radio 4 on the hour putting out the pips so the whole country knew where we were. So it was very difficult for everyone to have the same time, and it was the railway, they called railway time. So the train leaving here, the chap would have his watch, I suppose, train leaves my town, gets to Penzance, he says, right, it's 4:32. So they set their clocks, okay, it's 4:32 where you are, so we'll have the same time here. But I mean, that was nothing to do with these. These were for, say, a factory, a big factory, railway stations, where you've got lots of platforms, clocks everywhere. Any large building or wherever, where you've got several clocks, you can't have them all different. You know, you're waiting for the 4:32 to arrive from Paddington. You look at the clock over there on platform 2, that says 4:30. The one over there says 4:35. Well, what is it? So obviously they all had to be synced. How they got the time in the first place, I don't know. What did they set it by? What did they set this by? They must have had, like, okay, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. How did they know that? Someone must have told them, I don't know. But there we are. Anyway, no doubt, knowing me, there will be other videos, probably half a dozen or more. I shall keep you up to date with progress, if you're interested, that is. What else have I got to tell you? Nothing really. Yeah, I've got a box of relays, so I shall start work on the power supply, which will be, I've got this 12 volt lead acid battery here with resistors everywhere, series parallel, to try and get the 4 volts for the drive thing there, the drive solenoids, the drive magnet. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching as always. If you've anything to say, Ray at G4NSJ.co.uk. Have a look at the website, www.G4NSJ.co.uk. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.